Welcome to Brightly Storytime. I'm Miss Linda. Today we're going to read a story about a quiet mouse named Belle who lives in a town full of noise and music. But Belle doesn't yet know what her sound is. Let's read together about her adventure to find it in The Day Belle Found Her Sound by Lizzie O'Donnell. Belle loved music, but all alone up in her quiet room, there was no one to make music with. So instead, she quietly sang along to the music of her home. She heard a song in the low creaks of the floorboards, the humming of the radiator, the clicks of the stove turning on, the whistle of her teapot, the steady rhythm of rain, and the overwhelming silence of snowfall. Today, however, the sun had brought with it her most favorite song of all, the bustling melody of life in the town below. Belle didn't understand how each noise came together to create something so lovely. But still she would trill along in her sweet voice, though she never heard anyone else singing. It struck her that if she wanted to join her neighbor's song, it would mean she'd have to sound like them. So that's just what she'd do. Belle searched her tiny, quiet home and grabbed all of the loudest noisemakers she could find, hurried down the steps, and into town. Surely one of the instruments she brought would be the one for her. Belle focused on the bustle around her to pick out the rhythm of the crowd. She heard beeps and honks and greeted them with a toot on her trumpet, which she thought would fit right in, but they didn't hear her. That didn't feel right, Belle thought. She dropped her trumpet and continued down the street to find a sound that did. A jingle rattled from a bus as a band stepped out. She tried to play its tune on her keys, jam alongside a frog playing his banjo, hit the high notes to balance out the low strums of the bass. But try as she might, she couldn't find the harmony. One of the bandmates showed her that she was playing her keyboard all wrong, that it was actually an accordion. "You keep it. It doesn't suit me anyway," she said, and embarrassed, she scurried away. None of those instruments had felt right, felt like Belle. Belle ran all the way to the park, where it seemed like everyone had gathered together to enjoy the beautiful day. Drumming, tapping, strumming, creating a song so bursting with life, she ached to be a part of it. Left with only her drum and a speaker, Belle was determined to make a sound of her own that everyone could hear, one that felt right. She readied her drums, turned up the speaker, and played so loud that the song stopped. She wanted to find her place in the song, but everything she tried felt so forced and wrong that now there wasn't even a song to be a part of. Feeling defeated, Belle wandered off to be alone. She dropped her instruments beside her and sat in the grass. Belle was so confused. She had meant to sound like the townsfolk. But that clearly hadn't worked. She didn't know what else to try. Soon, she heard the jingle of the town's melody start back up again in the distance. She closed her eyes and listened to it. This was the sweet tune she fell in love with all alone in her quiet room. She couldn't help but sing along. As the song of the town grew louder, so did she. She let herself get lost in the building melody. The swell almost sounded like the townsfolk were right next to her. Belle opened her eyes and saw that they were. Everyone in town was there, playing along to her singing. Overjoyed, Belle grabbed the microphone and speaker from beside her and broadcast her voice for the whole town to hear. There, beneath the setting sun, Belle wove her notes alongside everyone else's to create a new song, where each sound was a reflection of who was making it, and each one was equally important. Belle had thought her sound had to be just like everyone else's, but she found a place in her town just by trusting her own voice. So, together they made music until the day's end, when Belle and her new friends headed home and off to sleep. Everything was quiet once again, except for Belle, who was too excited to sleep, because the day might have been over. But Belle's song had just begun. What sort of sounds are around your home? Try making a list of everything you can hear and then decide what your sound would be. What would your unique addition be? I can't wait to hear the music you come up with. I hope you all keep reading and loving books. Subscribe to Brightly Storytime so we can read more stories together. Bye!